Hello to all of those who are watching these videos that I'm making. I am following Gloria's suggestion and going to talk about marriage today on this video. And I find it easier to type out my thoughts than sometimes to say them. There's so many things that I want to share about marriage, married life, the things that my wife and I have been able to do to be successful for as long as we have. We started dating in 1992 and we got married in 1995. We've moved 5 times, our entire family, sometimes with no kids, sometimes with just 3 kids, and then with all 5 kids. So to say that we've struggled, to say that we've had things come up that made it hard to be married would be an understatement. But if there's one thing that I could say, if there's one thing that I could suggest to you, my friends who are married or have been married or looking to get married now, is communication. And the hardest part about communication is getting out of your own mind, getting out of your own ideas. So I usually relate these things to stories. So we moved from Tallahassee to Nashville before we had children, and Heather had friends and she had a good job and she enjoyed living in Tallahassee in that she had friends and a good job, and she enjoyed the people that we lived with. Now, neither one of us really liked the weather of Tallahassee, the humidity, and 10 months of 90% humidity was not good for us. But I took a new job in Nashville, Tennessee, and we moved to Nashville. The job for me was miserable. I was unhappy. I felt like it was a mistake, and I just became more and more miserable at home and in general in life. And I could not, in my mind, see fit to tell Heather how bad it was, because I felt like I'd taken her away from people and a job and some things that she really liked and loved, and had brought her into a situation where it was just so miserable, and I was miserable, and I didn't like my job, and that's the whole reason why we moved. And so in my mind, I couldn't have that conversation with Heather. In my 20s, didn't know any better. This was the first true test of us being able to get past a hardship. And she could tell I was unhappy, but I wouldn't communicate. We were arguing all the time. And then finally, I just broke down and said, "You're not going to believe this, but this is what's going on. And I'm so sorry," and all this other stuff. And she was like, it was so amazing, the things that she said to me. If I remember correctly, I believe it was, I moved here with you, not for your job. I don't care about your job. I want you to be happy. So, and if you're not happy, then we need to fix that together. So I was so worried about communicating because I thought how she might react, or I felt like she would react, instead of just talking to her and actually letting her react and then dealing with that. And that went on for 3 or 4 months, and it was miserable. And that was our lesson for us as a married couple: never let that happen again. And we really haven't let it go that long. Anything that's ever happened before, 3 or 4 days at the most. People say don't go to bed mad. Sometimes that's not possible. Sometimes you need a night to think about it. Sometimes we'll look at each other and we won't say anything, because we know if we say something, we won't say it kindly, or we won't say it nicely. The only other thing I'll say about communications is the words that you use matter. You shouldn't call people names. If you truly love somebody, calling them a word that is a horrible word would never even come to your mind. And that's not just a marriage, that's anybody, your family, your children. I call my kids butt heads and knuckleheads and stuff like that, but I never use any serious, angry, and never in anger, any words that would hurt. You can imagine just the worst possible words you could use to describe somebody. And be careful not to use those words with people that you love. So that's it. Communication for right now is the one thing we're going to talk about, but there's many more to come. Have a great day.